To appreciate why spirituality is a necessary skill in this age of AI, let's understand the problems it solves. A few years ago, during the COVID times, my dad received a phone call at 2 in the morning. On the other end was a close friend, crying. His father was dying. Doctors asked whether to take him off the life support. His sister said yes. His mother begged him not to. As the oldest, the final decision fell to him. Love was asking for peace, duty was asking for loyalty, reason was asking for mercy, and faith was warning, don't play God. No matter which way he turned, something sacred would be broken. That's not just a hard decision, that is a dharma crisis. When your values collide, the future is uncertain and you still have to act. Now meet Arjuna from the epic Mahabharata. He isn't a philosopher resting under a tree. He's the reliable older brother you call when things fall apart. Think of him as Navy SEAL meets CEO, the man who always gets the job done. He trained his whole life for a just war he was destined to win. Krishna, presented in the Gita as the divine, was right there besides him. But on the morning of the Kurukshetra battle, his system crashed. His hands trembled, his bow slipped, his mouth went dry. He said, I'm confused about my duty. Tell me for certain what is best for me. This is Gita 2.7. That wasn't someone trying to run from life. That was the crisis of a doer. I want to act, I just can't see what right is anymore. Does that sound familiar? We are one of the first generations staring straight at overlapping uncertainties we cannot pretend not to know. Artificial intelligence is reshaping how we work and how we decide. The climate is unstable. Our attention, even our identities are being reshaped by feeds we didn't design. Institutions feel stuck and polarization keeps turning up the heat. You can feel all of this in your body when you try to choose a path. You want to do the right thing, you just can't tell what right is. Because whichever way you move, something you care about takes the head. Let me tell you a story about Azar Raskin. In 2006, he prototyped Infinite Scroll, that smooth feature where more content loads as you swipe.
I'm the hapless human being that invented Infinite Scroll.
How dare you?
Yeah. I was blind to how it was going to get picked up and used not for people, but against people.
At first, it felt like the moral choice. Why make people waste energy on pointless clicks? Why not respect their time? It was the cleaner, kinder, and more humane thing to do. But scale changed everything. Infinite Scroll erased stopping cues. Those natural pauses when your mind asks, do I still want to be here? Without the pause, the mind doesn't rise above the feed. It just keeps consuming. And because attention became the new currency, once a few platforms used it, everyone had to. The race was on. The unintended cost, we lost everyday friction that gave us back our agency. What used to be a natural moment to stretch, reflect, or switch tasks became a seamless tunnel. Billions of hours of human life around the world got routed into engagement loops. Creativity shrank, rumination grew, and entire cultures tilted towards distraction. It was like taking the clocks off casino walls. You don't notice time passing, and that silence steals whole days. Azar has said he regrets how his idea played out. Not because his original choice was careless, it was thoughtful. But at system scale, local good turned into global harm. And that's the essence of a dharma crisis. Whichever path you take, one value is honored, another is sacrificed. Back to Arjuna. He wasn't facing strangers across the battlefield. He was facing cousins, teachers, and elders, the very people who had shaped him. As a protector, he was bound to stand for justice. As a son and student, he was bound to honor love and gratitude. And he saw the cost. A whole generation could be destroyed. He said, I see no good in killing my own kinsmen. Notice the difference. He wasn't saying, I don't know what to do. He wasn't saying, I don't know what is right. When your inner compass feels shattered, the Bhagavad Gita doesn't throw a bigger rule book at you. Instead, it helps you cool down first. And then it gives you a 3-step way forward. First, cool down and clear the fog. Krishna's first move with Arjuna isn't to give him a to-do list. It is to slow him down. He said, you sound wise, but you're confused. 2.1. Then he offers a simple but powerful practice. When the restless mind runs off, bring it back again and again. 6.26. Think of it like this. Your finger is stuck on the panic button. The Gita says, lift it. When the noise drops, the crisis stops looking like one big black cloud and breaks into pieces you can actually see. This is not passivity, it's the first discipline. Before you act, study a sight line. I talked about 3 steps. Step 1 is Karma-yoga. Do the work but drop the grip. Once Arjuna could think clearly, Krishna told him, you have a right to your action, not to the fruits. 2.47. This is the famous Mahavakya from the Gita. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. And be steady in success and failure. That steadiness is yoga. 2.48. In practice, it means this. Do the work that is truly yours, but don't clutch at the result. Why? Because when you tie your mood to the scoreboard, you ride an emotional roller coaster. Modern science backs this. Andrew Huberman, in his neuroscience research, shows that if you reward the process instead of only the prize, your brain learns faster and you stay motivated longer.
When we engage in an activity, let's say school or hard work of any kind or exercise, because of the reward we are going to give ourselves or receive at the end, the trophy, the sundae, the meal, whatever it happens to be, we actually are extending the time bin over which we are analyzing or perceiving that experience. And because the reward comes at the end, we start to dissociate the neural circuits for dopamine and reward that would have normally been active during the activity. And because it all arrives at the end, over time, we have the experience of less and less pleasure from that particular activity while we're doing it.
In his most popular conversation with David Goggins, he emphasizes the same principle. Train your brain to actually enjoy the work itself, not just the win. So you don't boom and bust after every success or setback.
But there's a danger to that dopamine hit, for lack of a better way to put it, from what we can only derive when it's coming from outside. You're talking about being able to either say good job, but also like just look to one's own personal history and say, I've done hard things and I can do it again and again because I do it again and again and again. You're talking about parenting yourself,
Yep.
inspiring yourself,
Yep.
scaring yourself,
Yep.
all of that from the inside.
Yeah.
So very different than the way we're raised, which is to figure out how to get the biscuit.
It's funny, man. People want to know how I'm always motivated. It's the unseen work, which you just said is a true statement.
Psychology calls this self-determination theory, from Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. It shows that intrinsic motivation, doing the work because it matters to you, beats carrots and sticks over the long run. The Gita's version is called Nishkama Karma, though I don't think the word Nishkama Karma is actually there in the Gita. Discipline, excellence without the addiction to outcomes. And this is why Karma Yoga comes first for Arjuna. Steady action calms the system quickly. When your hands steady, your head can finally see clearly. And there comes step number 2, Jñāna-yoga. See how doing really works. Neuroscience uncovered something humbling. In the 1980s, Benjamin Libet shows that your brain sparks before you feel you've made a decision. Later studies even found patterns seconds before awareness. But here's the twist. There is still a final veto window, a brief moment when you can stop if you're paying attention. In plain English, your ego is not the first spark of action, but you do have a slice of freedom. The Gita said this long ago, by the way. All actions are done by the qualities of nature. The deluded self thinks, I am the doer. 3.27. Most of what you call I is Prakriti in Gita speak. Nature running its programs. Breathing, digestion, impulses, much of your decision making flow automatically. The trained person sees this clearly. That's why the Gita says, even while seeing, hearing, eating, walking, whatever the body does, the wise know, I do nothing at all. 5.8 and 9. It doesn't mean you stop acting. It means you stop pretending your little ego is running the entire show. And that's freeing. Because if you miss this, you live on autopilot. Triggers fire, reactions run, and only later do you ask, why did I say that? Why did I do that? It's like a car rolling down in neutral. Momentum drives it until you remember to tap the brakes. That is Jnāna-yoga. Knowing that Prakriti is doing most of the heavy lifting and training yourself to stay awake in this small slice of freedom you actually have. The veto window, the space between trigger and response. And this ties into the free will debate. The Gita doesn't say we have absolute freedom, nor that we have none. It says most actions are driven by Prakriti, 3.27. Yet it also insists on agency. Let a man rise himself by himself, not degrade himself, 6.5. And at the end, Krishna tells Arjuna, deliberate fully, then do as you wish, 18.63. If there were no free will at all, if there were no agency at all, Krishna, the God himself, wouldn't tell Arjuna to do as you wish. So it isn't libertarian free will, I can do whatever I want, and it isn't hard determinism, I have no choice. Swami Sarvapriyananda calls this functional freedom. We don't have ultimate control, but we have enough to choose alignment. Professor Arindam Chakrabarti of University of Hawaii describes it as compatibilist view. Prakriti sets the stage, but there is a meaningful window of choice. The highest freedom is not doing whatever, but choosing alignment with dharma or with the divine. Think of it this way. Anger arises in you during a meeting. You didn't choose the spark. It came from Prakriti, your conditioning and chemistry. But in that small window, you can choose. Do I lash out or do I redirect towards truth and fairness? That choice, limited but real, is where the Gita locates responsibility. And this is why Jnāna-yoga follows Karma-yoga for Arjuna. Once your action is steady, you can see through illusion. And with that clarity, devotion or bhakti can be wholehearted without it turning into blind faith or fanaticism. Step 3, bhakti. Pick a North Star and play for it. Finally, you set your direction, choose the highest North Star you can name. If you're religious, that might be God, Ishvara, or the Purushottama, the supreme reality. If you're secular, it could be truth first living, reality over ego every time. But the practice is the same, whether you're religious or secular. Offer your work and yourself to something bigger than your image. The Gita puts it simply, whatever you do, offer it. 9.27. Those who place all action in me, I carry them across. 12.6 and 7. Take refuge by that grace, peace follows. 18.62. And finally, drop the clashing codes and take refuge in me alone. 18.66. In everyday terms, hold truthfulness and non-harming as non-negotiable. Run your decision through reason, evidence, and honest peer challenge. Then offer the outcome so your ego can't hijack the mission. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you precise. And this is why bhakti crowns the process for Arjuna. Once action is steady and perception is clear, the heart can commit without collapsing into sentiment or fanaticism. First karma, then jnana, then bhakti. This was the order for Arjuna. Karma steadies, jnana clears, bhakti commits. But the larger truth is that all three skills matter, whichever doorway you enter through. This matters because rules crack in real life. This path works at a deeper level. It steadies your motivation, clears your perception and anchors your conscience beyond ego. You don't become a different person. You become the cleanest version of yourself, steady in the work, honest in the seeing, and aimed at truth bigger than me. And in the age of AI, where metrics pull our moods, algorithm hijack our triggers, and speed can outrun conscience, hand steady, head clear, and heart aim is not a luxury, it's a survival skill. Arjuna had Krishna to guide him, but you can cultivate Krishna or inner clarity through effort. The Bhagavad Gita gives us the field map. But like any skill, it isn't enough to understand it. You have to learn it and practice it until it becomes part of how you move through the world. This channel, Pet the Tiger, is about building those skills together. Subscribe, like, and comment and share if that resonates with you.